Yeah, most people didn't know what I was doing because they couldn't understand what prototyping is on a small scale. Yeah, within the system itself, and then you observe it, you grab research on the space out. Within the field of energy manipulation, that makes it back with a form system that you control graphically with a new mechanical system that's handled by extensive computerized model. Yeah, that operate on a low-powered system, and while at the same time you're able to create the mesh. You're able to create the mesh from one system to the next to a digitized system. That's way to a drone system, a mobilized system. The system don't have to be stationary like they used to. So you're able to transmit energy across certain spaces and that. Yeah. So my point of view is that you're able to reconstruct the system area that's no longer has to be stationary. Now it could be fluid. Yeah, due to the fact that you're able to assemble pieces of a puzzle and make a structure out of it. Yeah, and then be able to make it disperse on the space area. Why you can also utilize a piece of that solar system or that heat within that space area or the type of energy to be able to somewhat reconstruct some stuff around the space area. Yeah, so you see what I'm talking about right here? Well, I'm spending my time describing what type of research, what type of technology that I work on. Yeah, so I ignore everything in the background. I don't know what's going on to the head over here. I tell you, I just ignore them. I just focus on my technology, my system. I'm not on the set, and I try to be on the set. By the time they try to put me on the set, I try to go off and tell them that, yeah, the judge over here will have to explain to me why is it that somebody else is using resources to put me on the set, and then use my life over there to go off and try to create a fake movie around me specifically, while I'm busy describing theories and concepts, a new methodology of energy transmissions on different magnitudes, on different systems to be somewhat reconstruct different things around the space of that. So this right here, yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that's the equivalent of the structure right here. But as you can see over here, this structure is meant to last for 50 to 100 years. But at the same time, it's not fluid or nothing because of the fact that it's based off a cheap cost of the system itself to be somewhat transmit high level of energy from one line to the next, where it loses energy over time, right? So in that system itself, they didn't create an input, yeah, that somewhat cancel a part of the energy that is lost. Because back then the transmission system didn't include a solar panel. So you have to understand solar panels is like a prototype of a system. Yeah, that was just now finished. Yeah, I told you they drive up and down, they corner with the people, and then yet still, this group of people would go off and corner to go off and steal my bag because of the fact that they heard that I was getting rid of something, to go off and quickly grab money and get out of this space. They don't want me to leave this space, they only want me to be stranded. So anyway, yeah, another mentally. So in that space itself, they didn't have certain microcontrollers. Yeah, microcircuit boards with the microcircuit boards that they had, it followed a voltage regulation law where they had to somewhat supplement that voltage regulation with small batteries that are 3 or 5 volts that they need to attach to that system itself to be able to insert extra juice to that system itself. Because the way I look at it is like a pressure system. That's way to a fluid, as if it's like a plumbing system. In there you have different components to be able to somewhat increase the pressure at certain points or decrease the pressure. I tried to see if there was a plumbing system somewhere in the open somewhere over here to showcase the type of functions that they develop mechanically to go off and contain the pressure and release the pressure around the space. But the best I could find is just a fire hydrant, right? So in order to somewhat deal with the electrical domain over here, you have different components within your space, within your microcontroller, that have their own power supplies and their own power system on the space itself, right? So ignore them for the time being. They're not on my map. So you have a certain system that you integrate inside of a circuit at one point that came with different voltage and different power levels on the space that someone passively recharged on the space itself. That was their component that they used to use to go off and attach it, assemble it with different systems that they had someone to combine together as one architecture. So within that system itself, you have different components that have their own power supply, but that will be very tiny and limited because that was the best that they could get back then. Because back then they could barely go off and do AutoCAD or the system as quickly as possible, with it being lag behind due to the tools and the system and the resources that they had to work with. So now you have a new capability. Now you have the ability to go off and multiply yourself and clone yourself to an AI system and showcase. Yeah, you have the ability to go off and showcase to your AI that you want to pick up this rock. I put this rock underneath this component at this weight right here. I wait for it to somewhat stick together, yeah, to a fusion system for 5 minutes, and then go off and quickly do a quick technique to stitch it up together. So by the time you're done over here, the symmetry that you're done with is not a binary system. It's like a prime system that could be random around the space, but at least you showcase the step to the AI system that's going to go off copy. That's going to go off and record the stuff that you did in a 3-dimensional film, and be able to understand it and then go off and replicate it as you press play. So you're able to like record multiple tapes of yourself doing different type of activities. Kind of like Kylie Minogue's video when she was like la la la. Was it the la 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 video, or was it the one over here when she was like I can't? When she walked around the space here, and there's like multiple copies of herself doing one thing to the next. So that's why you can use the AI. That's the play on the record setting over here, where the AI system can go off and record whatever you're doing specific on top, and then enact it on a space while you walk inside of a virtual reality headset. With a virtual reality headset, be able to see something in 3D on a huge magnitude of that building right here. I'll be able to like somewhat work with it continuously over time. But the AI system that you work with, that's just like the Kylie Minogue video over here. So get to be a machine system that you get to control on a certain place that go off and do different machine work around the space. Just like in a Ford factory, you get to see the different machines operating in different ways. Yeah, that's why you get to somewhat control over time and somewhat teach to go off and do stuff in a much more complex way, so they don't get stuck into infinity and go off and go AY around the space as you create different feedbacks to go off and like create error adjustments to make sure that it doesn't go on and become a runaway machine and they demolish everything around the space. Yeah, so now you're able to assemble a build thing on a magnitude, like a middle scale, all the way up to that scale over here, and be able to reassemble it in a fluid system over here. What's up? That'll go off and obtain a feedback from an outside source of power, like the sun, or the type of like energy that you want specifically, like maybe radiation, batteries, or other systems in them, to be somewhat reintegrated back into a much more powerful system. Yeah, that now has the ability to break itself apart and spread even further and be smarter around the space and be able to create an exotic system that reassembles itself back. Yeah, cool dynamic system over here that's compatible for like earthquakes or like hurricanes, the systems and that. Yeah, and then you get to rebuild it back right on top of it, and then eventually you can transmit energy wirelessly around the space, and that saves you time and energy, and then eventually the energy that you get to lose, you get to get it back on a small percentage, so now you increase the energy efficiency. Yeah, so now I have these cool systems around the space. Yeah, that's all mine for my company over there. And then yeah, you modify the field of energy, and now you modify the field of energy. It's no longer archaic. Yeah, you could go off and create a complex system, yeah, within a holographic electrical system that create mechanical energy that you get to reintegrate back into a beautiful shape like that. And you get like 3-layer dimension, like computer spaces. Yeah, that's doing a virtualization, but that virtualization itself, yeah, it goes back and forth to like energy and mechanical system. So you can literally create a hand to go off and move a rock over there. Yeah, have fun with it. And then use that same technique in that system itself to create a force field, motion detection system over here that can go off and detect unique things like a bird based off the description that you have in the database. And someone omit everything else without calculating the entire world. What's up? Yeah, just by saying the unique signal, the unique identity that match that frequency of that bird itself. Yeah, into a 3-dimensional space, even there's something behind it, all barriers and so on. But even if you don't even have to go that far, just the ability to be able to do that. It's a space you don't even have to worry about going to the building itself. Just be able to be detecting on the outside space itself, give you an evolution that's above the others, allow you to survive around the space. It's just a control of energy around the space with like a complex system. I'll be able to write programs and functions from around the space. Create invisibility, weapon detection systems, a holographic system over here that's way to like a fake dummy system, like, you know, a sniper gonna pick up a human being that's not even real. Yeah, so he shot like the holographic system and he got distracted by it, or things that's way to like be able to like visually see behind him for like that distance itself by just manipulating a dimension of energy. Now you're able to like somewhat sense him behind it and like see what he was looking at, all that stuff left top. And by the time you're done, you have an advanced module to go off and scan, force field system, invisibility system, and stuff that's way to like controlling a mesh of like robotic system that don't have to carry heavy machinery in there, or like complex battery systems. So very cool ass stuff that I get to develop my workshop in my company that we evaluate, yeah, $5 million to like hundreds of millions of dollars within the first 5 years, which is cool. So I said while I was doing that, yeah, as you can see, law enforcement stole my backpack. Again, over and over again, the losers who keep on like try to like take my equipment away, and then continuously try to push me inside of a story that's way to Jesus Christ punishing the guy over there. He's supposed to be homeless in a wheelchair, being pushed around inside of a hospital, mentally ill, being punished by God, and like also. I was like, yo, mentally ill over here. Go inside the courthouse over here. And then by the time you wait for me to like reach you over them, I'll recommend the death penalty, a life sentence for your dumb ass over here. Because you're mad stupid. Get away from me. Ew. Disgusting.